students register with 𝗧. As of now, we have 265,000 college-going students as part of 𝗧, and we have skilled more than 650,000 plus people since our existence, and 14,500 plus faculty members. We offer 110 programs, over 110 programs, including different programs on cloud computing also. 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧, of course, is our partner over here, and that's where we decided that we will launch this unique series, which is WINTalk. And on that note, I would like to invite 𝗬𝗧𝗧, my colleague from 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧, to introduce 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 to us.
Thank you, Shrikant. It's always been a pleasure working with 𝗧 doing the Industry Academia Connect programs. For the benefit of the students and the faculty, it gives me great pleasure to introduce that 𝗧𝗦𝗔𝗧 is a unique IT-ITS industry association that's almost 30 years old and has more than 300 plus IT and ITS organizations as members, accounting for about 90% of both the revenue as well as the employee headcount. And as an industry association, it has been our focus that we help engineering graduate. I mean, talent is a key requirement as a that is our main focus. Developing talent in Telangana has been always the key focus for us as an industry association, and how to improve the talent graduating out of our engineering colleges has been the focus area. In the past, we have worked with 𝗧, in programs like maker spaces at engineering colleges, hackathons, internship fairs, job fairs. So we have made several efforts in the past, including faculty development. And WINTalk series is part of that effort, where we want to introduce students. There's so much of information available to you people on I mean, how do we declutter the information for you? That's where we bring in the experts from the industry. It'll help you understand what are the job opportunities available to you, where are the resources online, which are the more authentic resources that you can refer to, what are the certifications, and how you can be job ready, by the time you get out of the college. So that's why we are targeting 3rd and 4th year students of engineering colleges, and also some become regular graduation, where they take computers as their electives and courses. It'll help you to become job ready by the time you graduate. So it'll be very difficult for you to get access to experts like Ramesh, Swaminathan, or Arun, Michael. But here we have, through this platform, making it easier for you to interact with experts, industry experts. And we have done 7 very good programs, and so encouraged by the response that we have got. So we'll continue to do these programs. I'll hand it over back to you, Shrikant. Thank you.
Thank you, 𝗬𝗧𝗧. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the end of it. I think
yes.
Apart from the WINTalk series, right now we are in discussion with 𝗬𝗧𝗧 for some very that we'll be doing very soon, and you would be getting to know about them quite shortly. But let's move back to the topic of the day. And I think cloud computing is something, so we have always been talking about that the job profiles today are existing in A, B, and C, which is artificial intelligence, big data, and cloud. Let's look at cloud itself. I said earlier, we have our expert panel of Arun Michael, who is currently employed with Tech Mahindra as delivery head, as well as the Center of Excellence lead for the Europe, Middle East, and Africa region. He has more than 22 years of experience in IT domain. Currently, as I said, he's looking after these 2 profiles. He's certified on Azure AWS Cloud Solution Architect. He's certified as an architect over there. He does hands-on live Unix, Linux, Azure DevOps, automation through ARM, PowerShell, Terraform, service delivery management, people management, handles a team of over 100 plus members. His area of core competencies are service delivery management, people management. He has experience in people management for operation teams for multiple projects, leading variety of teams ranging from 8 people to 25, 26 people plus of senior analysts and team leads. So as you can make out, he's a very, very experienced person in this field. Hardware troubleshooting, expertise on servers, super blades and C7000 enclosures are also his specialty. An effective communicator, which you will get to see in a couple of minutes. He manages, and his communication levels at all levels of hierarchy, he's able to do it quite easily. Having a strong analytic and problem solving and organizational abilities, he's an asset to Mahindra presently. Right, so welcome Arun to this thing, and really appreciate your taking out time and being with us here today. The other expert today is the Director of Product Management of Infomatica, who looks after governance and privacy group. Sorry, was I only getting that sound or some static was there? Sorry about that. Ramesh has over 20 years plus experience again. He has worked with Infomatica for over 7 years plus now. He was with CA Technology, which is now called Broadcom. Before that, he was also with 10 years with OpenText. He works on creating cloud-native applications to solve data governance and privacy problems faced by the Fortune 100 companies across the globe, as well as he's creating products for the world from India. He's a startup mentor at 𝗂𝗽𝗱, a guest faculty at IIIT Hyderabad for MTech Product Management and Design. He is also the Innovation Council member for 𝗖𝗍, working on creating Cloud Center of Excellence, which will be one of the things that you will get to know about later on, as we said in the beginning. So without any further ado, I think I would just like to remind all the students, all the faculty members, etc., who are there on this webinar today, to please keep your questions, type your questions in the question box, so that once I finish my questioning, we can take up your questions too. So let me start with you, Arun. And what is cloud computing? What is the overall scenario? In case you can do some crystal ball gazing and let me understand, what is it in terms of millions or billions of dollars, in terms of industry sizes, jobs, etc., etc. So over to you, Arun.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, Shrikant. That was quite brief introduction about me. It was a pleasure, and I'm happy to be here. By the way, so welcome, guys. So the next 1 hour probably we'll talk about in brief about what is cloud computing and what are we going to do and what is your career path ahead, right? Next 4 or 5 years down the line, right? So that we'll talk about it. So the cloud computing is per se, the cloud computing word looks very hot now, but the word, the cloud computing came back way back in 1960s or 70s, right? So where, I mean, they still believe, nobody actually invented cloud, by the way, right? So, but still we believed it to be JCB, right? So we call him as Joseph called Robnet, who was working on his own project called ARPANET, something. You get all this information in Wiki, by the way. So he was actually trying to connect people and data together, right? So that's where he was creating a centralized place where everybody can come and take his data and use it, consume it, right? So that is where originally the cloud started. But the word in cloud computing is very hot since 2003, between 2003 to 6, where Amazon actually taken as Amazon is first cloud provider, right, originally. So basically, what cloud computing in a nutshell, if you want me to ask, right? So you're delivering of an on-demand compute over the internet, right? So if internet is not there, there is no cloud, right? So you get your on-demand compute over the internet in a cost-effective manner, right? So you just wanted to put it in another way. You so far in the 3 or 5 years down before, you see all you are using a floppy disk, we were using a DVD, and we were using our own hard disk and all that, right? Now we don't see that, right? We carry our mobile and we access the data from anywhere. So it's made it like it's all in the cloud right now, right? So that's pretty much to understand what is cloud is. So there are cloud providers who provide the compute for you, and then you go and consume them, and you pay only for what you consume, in a simple statement, right? So you don't own anything basically. You got it? So I mean, so you like if you have a laptop today, so that's owned by you. But in cloud computing, if you see, I go and ask for a virtual machine or a server that I needed, and the operating system, if you say Windows or Linux, you take it from them. And then if you have an e-commerce application, you take it from them and then consume it. Then you pay only for those simple pennies that you are consuming for the number of hours that you use it on those machines, right? So that's pretty much. I think I hope now you get the bird's eye view of what is cloud computing is, right?
Yes, sure. So help us understand the potential, the market sizes, etc.
Sure. Okay, so now
please let Rakesh know when you want the slide to keep on moving.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah,
so the market share is kind of concerned. There are a number of cloud providers, like you take cars today. So you have number of car manufacturers, right? Similar way, there are a number of cloud providers in the market right now. But who leads the market? And because the people believe in them. So let me give a scenario of today, right? So you have your own house, right? So and everything within your house is owned by you. And when you want to consume from outside, you go and buy something from outside, definitely you will see a couple of things, right? Whether how safe it is, and then how am I secure, right? Am I paying it the right people, right? So there are some similar way when there are a number of providers in the market today, like you name few. You have Amazon Web Services, we have Microsoft called Azure, we have Google Cloud Platform, and we have Oracle coming in recently into starting 2012 and 13. And we have IBM, we have Alibaba. Alibaba Cloud is the leader in China, and we have VMware Cloud. There are a number of players in the market. So if you look at today, as on today, the market share predominantly owned by 3 people, right? So the number one is AWS, who is owning the 33% of the overall cloud market, right? And next comes in your Microsoft Azure, which was introduced somewhere around 2008 and 10. So they own about 28% of the market share. Next, GCP is now just picking up, because GCP, Google is known for all your machine learnings and artificial intelligence, right? So if a client customer is having a lot of analytical data, and then they choose to go into Google. So Google right now holds about 8% of the market share in the overall cloud spend, right? So that is the overall cloud spend. And right now, what we look at in the market, the trend, right? So now there are about 40% of the overall IT is in cloud as of today, and by 2024, the growth is going to be around 60% of the overall people, the enterprise and the media and all the clients will be moving to cloud. So there is a massive growth, right? So that's happening across the world, and so everybody.
Today, to add, Arun, right? This is the market today, as per Gartner, is $500 billion is the cloud computing size of the market.
Absolutely.
And the number might look big, but it is, and Gartner said it's not even big. We are just starting out, right? It's like expecting a growth of 22% growth year over year. We experienced 20% growth last year in 2021, and 2022 it's expected to grow at 22%. So the pie is very large, and it's growing larger too, right? So very specific to what you said there, right? Your screen says of PaaS, SaaS, infrastructure as a service. So when you break it down, there are various different kinds of services that's provided, right? And each one of these pieces is growing, and it's growing like 20-25% year over year. As you mentioned, it'll double the size in like 2-3 years from now. That's what is the expectation.
Yeah. So exactly to answer your question, Shrikant. So if you look at the slide which is posted here, people. So you got a cloud computing on the left side. So everything is by the different service providers, right? So you have the virtual, and then you have the software applications, and all these are put together in the cloud computing. And you don't have a visibility of where these services are coming to you. So it is like in Amazon, if you go and order a piece of a shirt, or probably you order a piece of whatever it could be, right? So same way you get into Amazon website, and then you order a machine there. I need a virtual machine for a month or a 2 month or whatever, right? So there are plenty of options available for you. And the same way you go to Azure Marketplace, where you can pick up based on you have a 2 months of project that you wanted to perform and you want to develop your own application, and then you buy this from them and then consume it after 2 months, just discard it, just terminate it, and then you will be paid only for this 2 months, right? But if there is no cloud today, what do you have to do? You have to invest. Your capex is high, right? So you need to upfront, you need to spend 50,000 or 60,000 to buy a laptop or a computer, desktop or whatever mid-range server, which is around lakhs together, right? So you need to buy, even though your work is only for 2 months. But in cloud, it is not like that, right? So somebody is giving you already all this. So all you need to know is, what is that I need from the cloud? Do I need the application that I develop on my own? Does it require how much compute? What is the storage that I need? How much data I'm going to create it over next 2 months? And I just buy only that, then consume it, just pay for those. And those are very, very minimal that you would probably see, right? So for anything that's 13 rupees an hour, which Azure charges for if you go in a medium range server to buy. So just 13 rupees an hour. So, and again, I mean, there are plenty of advantages in the cloud. And then how you get benefit? Why cloud? Just go back to the previous slide. You will probably know what are those benefits that you get out of cloud by moving to, So just go to the previous slide, by the way. One step lower. If you can move the previous slide, please. Yeah. No, not this one. Just the first one, the first slide. Yes. So if you see here why you want to get into cloud, that answers you all. So you have a scalability first thing. So today you buy a laptop, all right, to develop a gaming application. I'll just give you an example. So you develop that, and then later on you feel, oh, my performance is really bad. I need to upgrade my memory. My CPU is not actually up to the mark, and I was underestimating my. I did not have a fund. So now what do you have to do? You have to scrap this, and then you have to buy another one, right? But in cloud, it is not like that. You have an option to scale your machine, or a scale up or a scale down, right? So that happens in a fraction of a second. All you just have to go and just shut down your machine, choose another instance type which comes with a higher memory, higher CPU. Then just move on, and then your voice is again mapped to that. Within fraction of a second, you get another one, right? And again, so a lot of security features, a lot of agility, right? So there are a number of advantages, and you get to choose plenty of so many other things from the cloud. So this is why the cloud is a hot topic now. So rightly Ramesh mentioned, right? So now there are the early now already people are started making 500 billion spend in the cloud, spread across multiple clouds. Though by 2026, what we are is assuming, right? So far, starting 2010 to 22, the spend is about 500 million, but this is exponentially going to grow. In 2026, we are expecting about 950 billion spent going to happen only in cloud. Right. So there is another part which you have to think. Today we are talking on. I was checking example only on the laptop or maybe a small machine, but you think about a larger enterprise customer, right? So take an example of a banking client, right? So they have number of internet core banking connected together across India. Their data center is huge. So if I go and set up a data center today, there are huge costs I need to spend on the capex, right? I need to bring in a lot of capital with me, spend on those servers, buy it, and again I need to spend for a cooling, electricity, separate room I need to prepare, right? These all costs are going to be a very, very large expense for me. But cloud, that's getting ruled out. And the another major advantage that I have in cloud is the server which I buy today, or the one which the car you buy today, it's going to be outdated after 5 years. The technology is evolving, right? But in cloud, you don't have those disadvantages. You just forget about it. It is all the responsibility of your cloud provider who ensure you get the updated technology and the hardware underlying compute.
Wonderful,
right?
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thanks, Arun. That was excellent definition, and you're talking about 900 billion. So, Ramesh, let me move on to you with the question about, if 900 billion, then what are the people who would be required to man this kind of an industry? If you could help us understand the career profiles.
That's where the beauty of this whole cloud computing comes in, right? Now think about a scenario where let's go back to what Arun said, right? Earlier, for example, a bank, right? Take a ABC bank, right? Assume, Shrikant, that you have a bank, Task Bank, right? So now for you to run, for you to support your thousands of customers, right? You had to earlier bring this core banking servers into your office. You had to actually create a data center, buy those machines, right? And then hire people who had to come to your task office to actually support all these machines. Now think about a world where everything has been virtualized, right? Now you don't know where those machines are. The machines could be anywhere in the world, right? The machines, the people working, accessing those machines could be anywhere in the world. Now, what does that bring in? That brings in the scale that we as an India are looking for. That brings in the requirement for people who can actually work from anywhere, right? You could be working in India on an Amazon Web Services server, which is somewhere, right? Or in Azure Cloud, which is Azure Cloud could have its server farm in Hyderabad, in US, anywhere in the world, right? But you could be working from your small office. You could be a startup which is creating a solution on AWS or on Azure or on GCP or any other platform, right? It could be even Salesforce, right? What it's bringing in is an ability for people to actually create products and solutions from wherever you're sitting, right? And with this, it brings about the scale that we were thinking of, the amount of people that is required to actually work on these kinds to exist at a scale which is much more larger than what we had before. If you go to the next slide, right, to talk about pieces of what we used to do, right? All these are still relevant, right? You need product managers. You need product managers who can define what kind of services, what kind of products needs to be built, right? For set of customers, right? It could be a banking customer, an insurance customer, a healthcare customer. So you could have different sets of customers, but you're building solutions. Now, what cloud is bringing to you is the whole infrastructure part is sort of virtualized, right? You don't have to care about what kind of infrastructure you need to build. Earlier, when you created a startup, right, when you're starting out building something, the first thing that we used to do is, hey, what kind of servers do I need? Where do I go buy those servers? All those capital costs is all gone. Today, maybe a startup founder actually swipes his card and gets the kind of computing power, as Arun mentioned, right? He just has to say, and you start small, right? You start small. So I need only one server. No, I need only 500 gig space for my product now, and I can grow as requirements come. I grow, right? So basically, it provides you the elasticity and scale that is required for you to grow your business. And as you do that, it provides opportunities for all of us sitting here in India to create products for the world and service customers worldwide, right? So there is this product management area where these are the guys who are going in and defining requirements, defining what kind of solutions that need to build. Then you have people that we need to manage this whole program. You can just ask Arun the amount of program management he and his would be doing to actually run businesses, right? Tech Mahindra sitting in Bangalore, their team must be managing programs for like Fortune 500 customers across the globe. Ask him, and he can tell you experiences of how he is literally running the businesses for various banks, for various insurance companies, sitting in Bangalore, hiring people across the globe just to ensure that he has coverage for people for wherever the sun moves, right? He could be hiring people across the globe and managing these huge big programs, right? And architecture perspective, as you're building these products from as you're building products, as you're building services, we need architects who understands this landscape and design solutions, right, for very specific requirements. User experience is a big part of it, right? You need those UX people. You need those people who can map these user experiences, create those experiences for end customers. Somebody who can understand pain points, somebody who can go in and build these solutions, right? Because now think about it, we are building for the world. Sitting in India, we have the capability. We can sell, we can build, we can sell, we can service, right? Now you need to understand cultures. You need to understand people in different geographies, they use these products, being able to learn that, understand that, map it, and create solutions that can work for somebody who's sitting in US or somebody who's sitting in Australia, different cultures, different languages, being able to understand that, that's a huge, big opportunity in itself for us sitting here, right? Especially for people who's coming out of college. I look for people who do not have biases, who do not have past experiences, right? If somebody comes in and looks at something fresh, I love that kind of feedback I receive from them. So that's where we look for people who are fresh out of colleges, who can actually provide us feedback on some of these. Once you have defined experiences, somebody needs to go and build these interfaces. You need all those skill sets. Like there are all of these newer skill sets that's coming in, Node.js, all these newer technologies that Arun can talk about, right? All that needs to be learned so that you can build these interfaces. DevOps is a huge, big place in itself, right? I mean, we talk of today we talk of machine learning based DevOps. We talk of secure DevOps. DevOps itself, I can break it out into 5-6 different teams. DevOps is basically managing the development operations within a company, right? Because now there are lots of people who are writing code. How do you bring those code together? How do you build the product? How do you release the product? How do you manage the whole build operations? That's a big science in itself, right? That's another area where we need lots of help. Operation. So earlier what used to happen, I used to build a product, I used to sell to somebody, and that guy will manage it. Or we go to TechMs and Wipros of the world to manage the software for us. Now cloud operations, because it's a SaaS-based product, somebody needs to ensure that these operations are running through the day, through the night. So we need a huge set of people. Security is big. Product security is big because they're all SaaS-based products. There are multiple customers who are accessing the same pod, same system, same products. Security is big. Cloud trust is big because if you are actually deploying solutions in the cloud, there are various certifications that you need to comply to, right? I mean, there is HIPAA, there is SOC 1, SOC 2. There are like various types of certifications across the globe that you need, that you have to adhere to, so that go in and organizations can buy your products, right? And those are stuff on the stuff where you're building product. Once you have built the product, you'll have to ensure adoption of the products. That's where you need customer success teams. You need people who can evangelize your products, talk to customers about your product services, ensure that they get adopted. If there are issues that come up as part of the product, to help them. Professional services wherein you create customizations on top of the products that are built, right? And then you need specialists who really understand the product, who can go and do product demos. And then the whole learning services piece, wherein once you have built a product, you'll have to teach your end users how to use those products, right? So you have a big learning services piece that itself. So each one of this is I can spend hours together in each one of those boxes that I talk about. And we need people in each one of these pieces, right? I mean, what I want to tell the students here is, when we talk technology, when we talk about a specific software, cloud computing, I would say, look at it from all this perspective. Don't look at it from a pure coding dev perspective, right? It's not only development, it's not only QA, but when what cloud has provided us is an opportunity to build products across the spectrum, and it provides opportunities in each one of these areas, right? And I'm keeping it very, very close to only research and development pieces here. There are other pieces also where we need people, but because we are talking technology, I'm keeping it to only these areas where I need people today, right, to hire. I don't get enough people.
Definitely. Shrikant, you are on mute if you are speaking.
Sorry, thank you. Thanks for pointing it out. I do that multiple times. I assume that I'm unmuted and I start speaking. So apologies for that. So on that note, with so many existing and in fact wanting to hire even now, that is music to my ears. Dear students, please keep your questions, etc. coming. Do type in your questions so that we can take them up later on. So Arun, let me move on to you. Now, whenever we talk about, and you mentioned about a couple of cloud vendors, etc., who are there in the market, but would like to understand more who are there and who are the leading ones.
Yeah, so the leading one, definitely the Amazon Web Services, which is AWS. they are the market leaders now, holding the 33% of the overall market. I mean, when I say it is not out of 100 that you can see as per the market share, they are the major ones. And then the next one comes definitely Microsoft Azure, right? And then the GCP. So these are the three real players right now in the leading, sitting in the front desk, right? So yeah, so pretty much you see the same kind of an offers at each cloud vendor, but they have their own uniqueness, right? And literally that's how it is now. The market leader who is riding the front seat is actually AWS. Answer your question.
Right. Apart from these three, who are the other ones?
So we have Oracle and we have Alibaba Cloud. Pretty much China is all Alibaba Cloud, because China have their own world, right? So, and we have Salesforce, and we have IBM. IBM, they have their own cloud called IBM Cloud, and we have SAP Cloud. We have VMware Cloud. These are all the small players. They do not have, their customers are, you can count it at, the numbers, very few numbers, but the predominantly the cloud world is ruled by these three people at the moment: AWS, Azure, and GCP. And Oracle is again picking up, because they are known for an Oracle database and Oracle RAC clusters and that kind of a solution. Definitely those solutions definitely work better in Oracle Cloud. So they intend to bring all of their customers into Oracle Cloud, So
right. Of course, was not part of it, but since you spoke about China, is India also thinking of putting their own cloud?
No, I don't think so, because in fact, if just to name it, right, in Indian Railways, they are not on any cloud, but they have their own private cloud called RailTel or something called, yeah. So something like that, In fact, there are cloud offerings in put it such a way: public cloud and private cloud. You have something called hybrid cloud, and you have multi-cloud. So we cannot bring it. It's all about service providers who can bring it. But as a government, I don't think probably India is not focusing that area. But even you just a scenario, right? So you have your own data center, right? So you invested a couple of years ago, and your systems are new, and you have full-fledged establishment already done. But however, you still want to leverage the benefit of cloud. So what is the solution that you have? You cannot just wait for another few years to get your all servers in the end of life and then you migrate to cloud, right? No. So the cloud service providers still come to you as a private cloud model, right? So they will give you a piece of orchestration layer, which you just put it in your servers, and you convert your entire estate into a cloud kind of a model, and then you manage it, right? So there are a number of solutions, right? So that's where called private cloud, So that's how it is, and if you ask cloud is vast, I think we can keep talking. The number of there, and too many services available. You ought to pick it something. Google Mail, for example, that's a SaaS-based solution.
Right. Now, so Ramesh, let me move on to you. You spoke about all these various career options, etc., and you also said you have got a lot of openings available with you. But when you start recruiting these people, I'm sure apart from the technical skills, you'll be looking at other skills also. So what are the skills, unique skills that a person...
Absolutely right. I mean, the technology landscape changes, right? Every 2 years, there are new technologies that come up, right? I mean, we started our life doing COBOL code, and then C++ is where we started, which I still think is very core, right? We still have people who have C++ knowledge, because everything else is an add-on. We can build on everything else if you know C and C++, because that's the basis for coding, right? What is pretty important for us, what we look for, right, when we hire freshers. I mean, we do have a very large internship program. I mean, just before this meeting, I just had a Interns Connect program within our company, where interns were showcasing the work that they do. It's a 3-day program, so we have like about 100+ interns at this point who are graduating now, right? And most of the interns who come to Informatica become full-time employees of Informatica. So basically, what we're looking for basically is, one, the ability to understand the overall bigger picture, the ability to understand and recognize problem areas, right? Synthesize it and trying to provide unique solutions, right? That's what you're looking for, irrespective of technology, right? Irrespective of areas that you are working on. You could be an user experience engineer, you could be a coder who's developing, you could be a QA engineer, you could be somebody who's managing our security operations, right? But what we're looking for is the aptitude to able to look at a bigger picture, trying to understand the problem area and providing unique solutions, right? That's what matters, because technologies change, right? I mean, we are very confident that if there's a new technology that comes in, as an engineer, you would learn that new technology given some time, right? Throw in 3 to 6 months, you would understand, you will learn new technologies, colleges taught you enough technologies. But what we are looking for is the aptitude and the temperament to delve into a problem area and being able to come up with solutions. I think that's what I think is the role of a core engineer, right? I mean, that's engineering for you, irrespective of what kind of engineer you are, right? Civil, mechanical, electronics, computer science, all are technologies, right? But then as a core engineering graduate, what we are looking for is somebody who can solve problems for us, right? Solve problems uniquely for us. And the second piece that we are looking for is the ability to communicate. When I say communicate, communication is not language. Something that unfortunately we all think communication is English, but no. Being able to communicate properly so that the other person who's actually hearing you can understand what you're saying and synthesize what you're saying, right? So that's something that is core for when we hire interns, when we hire freshers. Being able to communicate well is something that's important. And the third piece is cloud computing is sort of opened up opportunities for every of us, right? I think it is like my CEO at Infomatica calls it Industry 4.0. So basically what it means is it has really changed the way that we are doing business. The opportunities available for us for doing business is very large. And the time available for picking up those opportunities is very less at this point in time, right? So we're looking for somebody who can develop quick solutions, who can think through very fast, develop solutions to problems very quickly. And that's what we are looking for, apart from all the technical skills, all the engineering degrees, certifications, right? There are all these cloud certifications that are available, right? I mean, there is this cloud architect certification from AWS, developer certification. Azure has its own set of certifications. I'm not sure what Google has, but again, its own set of. All these are plus, right? I mean, all these definitely are plus. It reduces the time to value for somebody who's coming into an enterprise. Those we definitely look for some of those, right? If you have time, you should do those certifications. But apart from this, the aptitude of people who are coming in, the communication skills of people who are coming in, problem solving skills of people who are coming in are the key.
Sure, got it. So problem solving, learnability, looking at the big picture are probably some of the key things that we are looking at. So sounds good, excellent. And you're absolutely right. I think technology keeps on changing so rapidly that by the time you actually master it, it's already outdated. So yes, you're absolutely right. So on that note, I think let me move on to you, Arun, and help us understand what are the models in cloud computing and how do I select a vendor? If there's a college over here who wants to move on to cloud, how would they do it?
Okay, so there are different models that are available in cloud. And when I say talk about the cloud vendors predominantly, offer you in two models. One is deployment model, and the another one is a service model, right? So pretty much I'll talk about the service model first, and then I'll move on to the deployment model, right? Service model, if we just go back 2 slides up, so there are 3 kinds of a service model predominantly, but as the technology is evolving, clients are asking too much of a demand, so there are so many other models available.
Go back.
Just 2 more slides, please. 2 more slides in the forward. Yeah, one more. Two more, one more again. Stop it there. Yeah. So on the right side, if you see, these are the different service model that you see. So
Okay.
the right side picture, that is view. The first one is dedicated your on-prem, which is basically you own your own car, right? So just consider that. I mean, I'll give you an example also as a car, or maybe I can give another example. But predominantly they talk about infrastructure as a service, wherein you get your only the hardware compute. You get your CPU, you get your memory, and you get your hard disk, right? And then on top of that, you have to install your own operating system. You bring in your own middleware and the runtime layer, and you get your own application layer, right? So you pay only for those infrastructure that you buy from the cloud provider. And they also offer for something called PaaS, which is called platform as a service, wherein they will give you the operating system. You have to bring in your application. Below everything they will give you. So you don't have to worry about that. You don't have to think about how my operating system fails, what will I do? You don't really have to worry about it. They will give you the availability of 99.99 availability. So your server will probably 30 minutes in a year will go down. That's what we are talking about here. And the last one is basically like a SaaS model, where you don't have to do anything. Bring in your piece of the e-commerce application layer, just put it on the application, whatever they give you, and then just consume it. Like your Google Mail today. Google Mail is a SaaS platform. What do you get? Somebody is providing you that mail service, right? You just go and create your own mailbox and then consume it. And they give you a 5 GB or a 10 GB of a disk for you for free. Anything more than that you consume, then you pay, right? So that's how. So the way, these are the predominantly three models that every cloud vendor offer. Apart from that, there are other models like DR as a service. If somebody like a banking, right? So they, as per their GDPR or compliance perspective, they have to retain the last 10 years data or 15 years data. So the amount of data you develop over a period and archival of a data that you keep, it's massive. It goes into petabytes, right? So in that place, where will you keep your data? You have to keep buying your storage at your own place, isn't it? So that, to avoid that kind of a model, cloud providers also provide you backup as a data. Backup as a service, I mean. So you can just go and consume only the backup as a service from them. And so DR as a service, right? So in any enterprise customer, if you talk about today, so they will have the data stored in two places, right? To in case if any natural calamity happens, a flood or anything happens, your one the location will completely goes down. In such scenarios, you cannot stop your customers suffer, right? So you need to serve your customer. So definitely you need to have another disaster recovery location where you have to ensure your entire service is up and running 24/7. So the cloud providers are providing such data. You don't have to invest again everything freshly, buy another data center and then invest on the capex, put a lot of amount buying. So I will give you a DR as a service. So there are plenty of services available like this, but predominantly every vendor right now provides the IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS.
Thank you. That was helpful. So moving on to you, Ramesh, you also mentioned during your discussion about the skills about internship opportunities. So can students actually get internship opportunities to learn about cloud computing, try their hands on in it? And if so, how do we do it? Second thing is, Rakesh, in between, I just saw a slide where what Ramesh was about, the actual job profiles that are there. Can you move on to that slide, please?
May I know the slide number, sir?
Last
slide.
Two slides. Second last one, actually.
7th one.
Yeah, this one. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was just, while I was discussing with Arun today morning, I just looked at the amount of openings that was available at Infomatica today morning, right? And I just picked a screenshot from our careers page, and I saw that there were like about 150 positions that's available in India, like for various cloud-related openings, right? For a company like Infomatica, you can look at the size of people that is required, right? And Infomatica is not even a large company in India, right? So they think about amount of people that Techem would be looking for example, right? So what I'm saying is the amount of people we require, the skilled people we require is growing, and it's growing almost every day. Internship opportunities are always there. Every company do have a sort of an internship calendar wherein we bring in people. And most companies actually work with colleges, with the placement officers of colleges to actually build an internship calendar so that we can hire in people, we can get in people at the right time. I mean, 6 months internship, 3 months internship, and then extend it for another 6 months, and then right. I mean, for Informatica, at least, one of our largest intake of people is through internship, right? I mean, people who are seniors today in the company were interns like 7-8 years ago in the company, right? So that's how we grow. I mean, that's one of our scalable model apart from lateral hiring that we do. Internships are always available. You should look for opportunities, and our websites will actually provide information. And what we at Informatica do is we actually run a virtual hackathon once in a year to actually hire interns, right? We don't even you can go to our website. Any student who's in his 3rd or 4th year can actually register. I don't know when it happens, but we do a virtual hackathon across India to actually hire interns, so that we sort of democratize the process, right? So anybody can go in and register and become an intern. That's one way of doing it. All right. So internship opportunities are always there. Fresher opportunities are always there. You should keep looking at it. And the third piece that I would encourage students to do is most of these cloud vendors that Arun talked about, right? GCP, AWS, and Azure, they actually provide access to some of their products free for students. You could actually register. You could have hands-on experience with some of their product capability for a few hours, right? And go through their certifications. They run programs themselves quite a few times around the year, right? I mean, Neeraja can publish the 𝗖𝗍 timetable. 𝗖𝗍 has quite a few programs that actually run for working professionals, for students, both from a technology and from a leadership development perspective. 𝗖𝗍 runs quite a few programs. So you should look at all these opportunities and make use of them. That's what it is, right? I mean, most of it, from a student's perspective, things won't come to you, right? But little bit of effort from your end to look at things, you will definitely get to those things, right? I mean, keep searching for it, keep looking for opportunities. I mean, I'm sure even if you now go and search for internship opportunities, workshops run by these service providers, you will find quite a few of them. You will find quite a few free workshops also happening across these cloud service providers, right? So for opportunities, make use of those opportunities, make use of the time to get those certifications, get some hands-on training, register. Most of your college email IDs will provide you access to some of the infrastructure capabilities on AWS, Azure, and GCP, which you could actually lay your hands on, get your hands dirty to build some stuff, show some stuff. If there are hackathons happening, you should participate in these hackathons so that it provides you an environment to display your capabilities and learn more, right? So these are things that you should continue to do. Actively look for opportunities, participate in these opportunities so that you learn. And the more you learn, the more confidence you get to actually get to these jobs. That's what matters. And as an interviewer, when I'm actually looking at people, from the body language, I can tell you this guy experience has his hands on, right? It's not about answering questions. His body language, his attitude will actually tell me that, okay, this guy has worked on these products, right? So, or if he's faking it. So try to get these hands-on experiences as much as possible. Arun, you want to add something to this?
Yeah, definitely. So as Ramesh mentioned, right, so every organization at the moment has a lot of cloud. So we are talking about 500 billion market today, right? So you make a decision to migrate it to cloud, but who will come and manage it? So those are that you are going to manage it. By 2026, we are in next 4 years, the market is going to be double, right? And we need people, right? So that is where it is. If someone is deciding or just in a dilemma to choose a cloud, no, you are doing wrong. Choose cloud is the right career path for you at the moment today, right? So you are 200% you are making a right decision, definitely, because the career is going to be bright, and there are too many things to learn in the cloud. Technology is evolving, right? And early adopters definitely win the race, right? So there is no second thoughts, obviously. So every organization has a plenty of opening, and as we have seen my profile, I handle the entire EMEA region for Tech Mahindra Cloud. I have plenty of customers right now. We do massive migrations in all over EMEA. When I say, right, so we are looking for people in AWS and Azure and GCP as well, right? So the openings are massive in the market, and look at some of these numbers. Just go and surf it in the Google, study yourself, and then definitely you will know the backbone of it, right? So we are talking about something which is bright in front of us, and again, this is considered as a niche skill in the market today, right?
Right.
And the pay that you get or offered on a right candidate and a right skill definitely double than somebody is having a legacy skill or the older skill that we always look for, right? So
right, thanks. So wonderful discussion. I think now let's take some student questions, etc., in interest of time, and then maybe time permits, we'll come back again for a quick question. But so Manisha is asking, which are the different layers that define cloud architecture?
Yeah, so that we actually discussed. So the different layer, when you say we have an infrastructure layer, and then we have a platform layer, and then we have a software layer, right? So those are the different three types of service models that we have. We call it as a different layers of cloud. And yeah, as I say, just to put it in as example, it's all about what your requirement is, right? Choosing a right requirement and choosing a right platform for you in the cloud. You are bringing your own operating system, you have your own application and database. What do you choose in the cloud, right? So that's what it is. And just to add, you guys, right, just to add, I mean, these all cloud vendors are charged per hourly, right? So just remember, so you consider a situation, the company works for 5 days a week and then 2 days off. So just Friday evening, just switch it off and go. 2 days you're not charged, so you're paid only for those 5 days. And you save a massive cost. And definitely there is one role in cloud which is not mentioned in this slide or the next slide that I put it across. That is called FinOps. So we call it as a finance optimization role. That is also coming in very massively now, because there are enterprise customers who build their entire IT landscape in the cloud, but somebody needs to manage it, right? At the end of the day, it's all money. So someone,
right.
To add to the infrastructure architecture, right? I think Manisha has this question. From a services architecture, from a product solutions architecture, right? Most of the software that you're building are microservices based. So you should learn about microservices architecture, on how you build a microservice based solution, so that you can build packaged services which are small services, and the addition of these small services make up a particular product or a solution, right? So you should look at microservices based architecture. Any solution that you build on the cloud will follow the same pattern of products and solutions that you have been building traditionally, but then microservices is something that will actually add more value. You should learn a little bit more about microservices architecture as you go to cloud.
Wonderful. I think we've already spoken about it. What are the different models for deployment of cloud computing, how it works? So we have already spoken about it. So I will let this question go, Rohit. Preeti, what is the difference between scalability and elasticity?
I can take it. So basically, elasticity is about elasticity about getting more infrastructure in, right? How elastic you can be in terms of increasing the infrastructure. For example, right, I'll give you a very typical example that we see every day, right? All organizations pay salaries end of the month, right? And end of the month, on 30th and 31st of every month, the amount of computing that you need to basically calculate everybody's salaries, generate the salary slip and pay those salaries, tell the banks that the salary needs to be paid, and the banks doing the transaction is humongous, right? So for example, if TechM has 1 lakh employees, so they have to create payrolls for those 1 lakh employees, right? But that only between 25th and 30th of every month, and you don't need that much of computing power all the other 25 days. So you can scale down on your computing power for those 25 days, but for those 5 days when the actual salary processes happening, you need a lot more of computing power. That's elasticity. Being able to scale up and scale down based on the needs is elasticity. Scalability is from your solution perspective, is from a software perspective, in terms of how can you scale your operation, how can you scale the amount of payloads and work that you can do with minimum kind of compute power is something that you build. The lesser the compute power you use, the lesser money you pay to the cloud providers, right? As Arun very rightly mentioned, you are paying by the hour, by the amount of computing that you are using for a given solution, right? So how can you scale your solution so that you can run more processes with less computing power is something that is scalability for you. And that's something that has to be built. One is something that has to be built in the software. The other one is the availability of hardware for you as you scale your solution.
Excellent. Next question is asked by Shivani. What is the difference between cloud and traditional data centers? Arun, would you go for it?
Oh, sure. Okay, traditional data center is something you own by yourself, where you manage the complete infrastructure. The servers are owned by you, and the software agreements and software licenses are owned by you, and you completely take care and manage it yourself, right? Just starting from your electricity, cooling, and whatever the power required and all that. And then what is the second part of the question? The cloud is per se, you don't own anything. So just go and pay what you want, and then what you use, basically, like your electricity today. How you pay your electricity? So you consume and then you pay. How much ever you consume, you pay that much. So you don't ideally own anything. At the end of the day, shut down everything, terminate everything, give it back, and come out.
Got it. Shruti is asking the next question. Is there any additional security benefits of the cloud computing?
Definitely, yes. So you have every cloud vendor. If somebody wants to get into an unknown place, definitely the few things that you will think of, right? If you go for a new place to visit, you will definitely think, how secure am I going to be there? So similar way, when somebody is moving to cloud, so far their own data center, no hackers get into the data center. You manage your own data and you have your own security tools, right? But when it gets to cloud, definitely you're going to be having this doubt. So every cloud vendor comes up with their own security portfolio of tools that as per your requirements. Somebody is from a BFSI client, right? Banking and finance, and somebody from a manufacturing, what kind of a security they need and what kind of a compliance they need. They have a plenty of option to choose, and you can choose from that, and then they assure the security that you need. And you are definitely going to be on a multi-tenancy, which means when I say the word multi-tenancy, a single hardware probably be hosting your bank A server also and bank B server also. But however, they are isolated by the security tools that you're going to be bringing in, right? So there are plenty of options to choose within the cloud, which you can choose from.
Okay. Interesting question that has come up, but I don't know the name of the gentleman or the lady, but the number is given over here. So someone wants to be called by the number and not by the name, which is 173-567-EE2023. Probably they have given their college, number or whatever it is. But the question is, I have completed my MS Azure fundamental certification, sir. Can you suggest the next certification to explore? I think it'd be good in case you could talk about the various certifications that people could undergo. So you have referred to it, but if you could be more specific.
Yeah, so you're good. Happy to hear that. So when you say Azure Fundamentals, I assume that's going to be AZ900 certification that you completed. So the next certification for you would be AZ104, which is Azure Administration. And then so when you do an Azure 104, you get to learn about different services of an Azure. How do you administer a particular service? And there are about 26 to 52 activities that are probably services you will get to know in AZ104. And further down the line, once you are familiarized with complete hands-on on that, definitely your path is going to be an Azure Architect, which is another certification, a couple of certification, AZ302, 304, 303, and all that, right? So that is your career path, unless you want to change your career into a DevOps developer line, or probably an Azure DevOps AZ400, or a security, which is called AZ500, right? So considering the basic fundamentals that you did, your next certification is going to be 104 for sure.
Okay. Ramesh, any other certifications apart from Azure that you would like to talk about?
And every vendor has their own set of certifications, right? I mean, we talked about.
Can I have a permission? I mean, I have a slide which takes about different certification. If people want to see, definitely I can share that.
I think you should bring. Yeah, Arun, that will be great.
So
Rakesh, can you help bring that up?
Yeah, how do I share my screen here?
I'll just ask Rakesh, my colleague, to
Oh yeah,
help you.
I'm just sharing my screen.
So just I make yourself as a presenter, so you can just click the add button and upload the present.
Correct. Yeah, I'm just sharing my screen now. Entire screen. I don't get the share option. It's grayed out, by the way. It's grayed
There will be a plus sign at the bottom of the screen.
Oh yeah, I got it now. Great. So let me know if you see my screen here. You'll see my screen?
Yes.
It's just
These are the different AWS certification you have. You start with a solution architect, and if you want to choose a DevOps, this is definitely involves a lot of your, the Python, Ansible, and Ruby, Chef, Puppet. There are a number of agile DevOps tools are available. So to start with AWS solution architect, there are a couple of certification. If you want to get into a foundational, then you have a cloud practitioner certification for you. So how do you choose your cloud partner? Choose anything equally good. You could choose an Azure or Microsoft, the Amazon or GCP, but choose your partner, choose your certification path. The main thing is not only doing the certification, you need to have equally have a hands-on, practice well. So now these are the Azure certification that you have in front of you. So as I said, I considered you did 𝗧-5 certification. Next is definitely 𝗧-104. That is your associate. And then you have a architect 303 and 304. From here, you can directly jump to expert if you want to, or you have multiple other paths to choose as well. Right. So 𝗧-500, which I said is security. 𝗧-400 is your DevOps. If you want to take a DevOps as a separate certification, so you can definitely move on to your DevOps as well. Right. And this is your list of GCP certifications. Start with a professional cloud DevOps, or I mean, these are not. There is nothing called number 1 and number 2 except your Azure. Azure for you start with, you need 𝗧-900 certification as a prerequisite for doing the other certification. But nevertheless, for GCP, you can start with professional cloud architect, collaboration engineer, or whatever, So these are the different kind of a certification of these 3 cloud service providers.
Thanks for sharing that. That was wonderful. Okay, now Sahil is wanting to know, hi, I wanted to know if you can change the security setting as per our choice or as per client's requirements. Not sure.
The answer is yes, definitely yes. So it's all about the client choice, because you are going to be securing the client data. So the security and the data privacy is all by to the client policies and rules.
Yeah, Arun, you can stop sharing your screen now.
That's what I'm struggling now. How do I do that?
Okay, so next question. I think
below. There's a blue button to stop sharing.
Do we have a blue button here?
Below.
Oh yeah, this is one. Correct. Got it.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. The next question is, of course, which you have been answering earlier also, MS versus Oracle versus AWS versus GCP versus Alibaba.
Yeah.
So I think we have already spoken about it so many times. Let me go to the next question. Krishna is asking, what is the difference between cloud computing and mobile computing?
Not sure what you're talking about. Mobile computing. Mobile computing. I'm not sure whether I really getting that question. Cloud computing, we have seen it so far. Probably mobile, using mobile, maybe you can access your cloud computing.
I think so too. Mobile, I think, is an end point of consuming the applications that are built. Right?
Okay.
I'm not sure if there's something called mobile. You could build things for mobile, right? That's more from a consumption perspective of what is being built, what application that you're building, but your actual computing servers are all going to be on the cloud, right? I mean, you could create a mobile game, say for example, right, which is basically you're building for somebody who's going to application only from a mobile, right? Maybe that's what is called mobile computing. But then again, the backend for all this mobile game is going to be somewhere in the cloud so that it can be accessed by a mobile device. I guess that's what the question is.
Maybe cloud computing can be a mobile computing too, provided it is not a location preference. You can just access from anywhere, anytime. The only requirement is just an internet. So if you have an internet, you are computing. Cloud computing can be a mobile computing.
Right. Yeah. Pranav is still insisting on asking the question. So he's saying difference of MS versus Oracle versus AWS versus GCP versus Alibaba.
Okay. So the straightforward example would be the way the number of cars that you have in the market, the one which you choose, it's all about you. But then there are some underlying concepts. How do you choose your correct cloud vendor? So just take an example of your existing estate or your IT landscape is all just a simple example that I'm giving you. There are a number of other factors to decide too. So your existing data center, your existing everything is of Microsoft Windows. It is all running in Microsoft Windows, right? So definitely if you go with Microsoft Azure, you get an option to reuse all your existing licenses that you already bought. And then they give you a lot of discounts to it. But when you go to AWS on the same way, they do provide you the facilities, but you need to choose something called a dedicated host to use your own license. Right? So they make it little complex for you. So there are a number of factors that chooses something, and the number of services you have. So SAP, if you have your existing portfolio, your existing landscape is SAP, definitely Azure works better there because they have an SAP specific services that are available in Microsoft Azure, right? And you have a lot of data that needs to be analyzed, like your share market, a lot of data analytics, and then machine learning to be done. Definitely Azure and AWS is not your right partner. You have to get into GCP because Google is a master in the data analytics and the machine learning, right? Because now Google know which session you are attending. Google has that data as well. So they are mastered in that. So there are some parameters like this decides. That is all done by the cloud consulting and the cloud partner that you are going to be working with. They will help you analyze which cloud vendor you need to choose and which is going to be. And definitely there nobody is restricting you to stay with only one cloud vendor, right? So you can equally go and get offers of both the vendors and equally get the benefit of both from them. You use your one data center in Azure, keep other data center in AWS. Nobody stops you doing that. You can gain the benefit of both. Yeah.
Right. The last question from the students, of course, there are multiple more questions, but we are just limiting it to some questions in the interest of time. We are already practically 14 minutes, more than our scheduled time. What are the most essential things that must be followed before going for cloud computing? This question is again being asked by Krishna Modina.
Okay. I'll take that question. So the most essential thing you need to plan is definitely a cloud workshop. We do that in current engagement, number of engagement that I'm handling right now. So the how much that you can convert, or maybe your data center or your existing servers could be old enough, right? Maybe they would have built decade ago. So they are not even cloud ready at the moment. So definitely you need to spend a lot of time in the workshop analyzing your existing application, existing data, how much I can move it, how much of my data is cloud ready, can I rewrite some of these codes, and because the cloud architecture is completely new, it doesn't really support some of those architecture which are decades older. So some of those things are very, very key, and some of those ones are the primary ones that you need to probably spend a lot of time on when you plan to move into cloud. and because you need to make them cloud ready to really gain the benefit of cloud. Hope I answered that question.
Sure. Ramesh, would you like to add anything to this?
No, absolutely right. I mean, there's various parameters. It's not one or two, right?
Yeah,
Absolutely. It's a big consulting assignment before you actually decide, do you want to move to the cloud or not? And one of the other basic reasons is the big thing that organizations consider is cost, right?
Absolutely.
It is what we call as capex versus opex, right? The model that you move to, right? Because your existing model, if you have an on-prem data center, it's capex intensive, right? And while you move it to cloud, it becomes opex intensive. So again, it's all about the finance part of it, right? And the operations part of it, right? Moving is one part of the program. The ongoing maintenance and of those applications, on-prem or cloud, is where the problem lies in, right? You'll have to do. One is technology, right? Technology plays a big role in you deciding which ones you go to. As Arun mentioned, cloud provides you the capability of a lot of computing power, the power of big data, AI, ML is all possible because of the cloud, which is very cost intensive. If you have to do some of these huge big Spark based processes, you have to run a AI algorithm in your on-prem system, you will need a lot more computing power than what you have, right? That's going to be very capex intensive, right? But if you do it in the cloud, that's going to be much cheaper because you're going to run that payload for a very less amount of time, and then it becomes a opex kind of a pricing finance model from a capex kind of model. So there are lots of deliberations that will go into before moving from on-prem to cloud, right? And it's not a one single answer to say yes. There is technology, there is computing, there is capabilities, there is security, privacy, there is financial implications before you decide on moving to cloud.
Right. Thank you. I think wonderful for all that. Just one quick fire round question to both of you, and let me start with you, Ramesh. 3 words that you would like to tell our students, right, to enthuse them or excite them for computing careers?
I would say at this point, it is opportunity to build products in the cloud, which we never had before, right? I would say with like opportunity to build for world consumption is what I would say is the key for students today.
Opportunity for world consumption. Thanks, Ramesh. Moving on to you, Arun.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I mean, the good career is ahead of you guys. Just believe in that. Stay positive. That's what I would say as a first statement. Always stay positive. Choose your platform, right platform. We have been discussing a lot here, and choose the right certification pathway, and then anywhere the reasonable cloud computing certifications, and then the key area to crack your interviews, or when you go and put somebody in front of you, that hands-on, right? So that is equally there are a lot of documents available on the net which will probably take you to the certification, but without hands-on nothing works, right? So practice well. So AWS gives you 1 year complete free subscription, and for students every vendor gives that. You make utilize of that and then build your bright career cloud portfolio.
Wonderful, thanks. Definitely, Task also runs program on cloud computing. We give access to AWS, to GCP, as well as Salesforce.
There are few more questions. Can I post?
Hello? Sorry?
There are few more questions, sir, from students.
Rakesh, we are already 20 minutes over schedule.
Okay, we'll share it offline then.
Yeah, I think we will request Arun and Ramesh to answer them offline, and we can send it back to the students.
Sure.
In the interest of time, I think we need to wind off now. So we'll do that. So thank you, Ramesh. Thank you, Arun, for such a interesting discussion and helping demystify and also suggesting what should be done for our students to take forward for a cloud computing career. So thank you very much for that. It was indeed a pleasure, having this conversation with you. Thank you for taking out time in the interest of the youth of Telangana. Really appreciate your efforts, gentlemen. And thank you to all the college management, the faculty members, POs, and the students who logged into this program today, this webinar today. We would be seeing all of you on 22nd with the topic on cybersecurity. That is on 22nd, again, the Friday, after 2 weeks, as usual.